All right, so some of you might be following along with this build here, but I was trying to get the truck running. It does start and run stuff, but it's having a hard time getting it to idle. And didn't notice it until recently. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention. It was kind of loud with the headers and stuff like that, open headers. But anyways, long story short, found out the reason it was not wanting to run very well, I had to put it in a bunch of turn in the idle screw a lot. So I'm gonna back that out a little bit. But anyways, I had to have it really high just to even get it to run, and it wouldn't run very well at all. Or idle. You know, if you put in a lot of exhaust or a lot of throttle rather, it would run, but wouldn't idle. And anyway, so has a really bad vacuum leak. And it's kind of along this side of the carburetor, right on the mating surface here. And so it kind of teeters back and forth when you take the screws out. I tried a couple of different things and it hasn't gotten any better. Anyways, ended up putting a straight edge on it and found out that the top is warped pretty bad. So in today's video, I'm going to try to fix that and see if I can get it to work. I'm pretty sure I will be able to, but it's gonna change a few characteristics of the gasket surface, so hopefully it'll be okay. But I put a straight edge on the base part, and that seems fine. It just seems to be the top, and I'm gonna have to try to smooth it out and level it out, but it's already wrecked the way it is, so I'm not hurting anything. I mean, the way it is, it's garbage. So. And so this is you can see here, the back of the carburetor is straight. It's hard to say, but or hard to show, but the base part of the carburetor, from my understanding, the way that you tell, or the best way to tell the difference between a 2100 Motorcraft and a 2150 is that the front is kind of, the base plate is kind of like a dog dish shape on a 2100 and a 2150. The back is straight. So hopefully that describes it well enough. But anyways, there's videos on that. So these really easy to pop off. All you have to do, especially if you have it set up like without the AC stuff, I don't know if that would change anything, but all you have to do is just take off your screw here for your idle or your choke plate, and then take out your, I guess it would be 6 screws, and the top will come off. All right, so I got my screws out, got this just loose like this, and then you'll be able to pick up the top here. And, oh, yes, and also the vacuum line at the back. Do this one-handed. There we go. And then you gotta just kind of twist it sideways here to get it to pop off that shaft there. So you can see this gasket's kind of torn and worn out. It's not in too bad condition, but it did tear here. Everything looks pretty decent in here, actually, all things considered. Now can I get a shot of that? Yes. So you can see here, the 2150s. Now, there may be some exceptions, it sounds like, but generally speaking, the 2150s will have a straight back here, down here on the flange. Whereas the 2100s will have like, it'll come in like this. I don't remember what CFM these are. I think they vary a little bit, but my understanding is I think the 2150s were, well, they came later. They're a little bit more complicated, a few more emissions type of things, and then I think maybe they were more so on trucks, but I'm not sure on that. I did pick up a second 2150 that's a 1982, but it was off of a camper, and apparently it was a 302 engine, but has an AC pull off and a few things like that, or AC solenoid, whatever they call it. And so if I can't make this work, that's what I'm going to use. But it is an 82, but my understanding is things like motorhomes and stuff like that were kind of tended to be a lot behind the upgrades and innovations, if you could call them that. I don't really think they're upgrades, but they're kind of a step behind the car stuff from what I've typically experienced. So anyway, so we got the top here. Now, let me zoom this out a little bit. So there's a couple things that are going to need to happen to do this. But I got this, and this is a table saw. So it has a smooth surface, and then can grab sandpaper. Now this sandpaper here is Diablo stuff. I bought this at Home Depot, where they rent out the floor sanders and stuff. You can buy these sheets, and they actually have an adhesive back, so you can take that off and glue it down to something. It's really nice. And then if you need to, when you're done, you need to remove it, you just spray some sort of solvent on it, like brake clean or whatever, let it soak in. It'll peel off, and then you can just clean up the residue or whatever. But anyway, so I'm going to just mount this. I probably won't even glue it down unless I have to, but we'll see. So on something really smooth, some guys talk about using like a piece of granite or granite tile, if you can find one that's really smooth. Basically, just something that's really smooth. And I'm going to try to resurface this. So this corner here is the area that's leaking, and the carburetor could have been dropped or something. This whole shaft, you can see that the flange shaft. I don't know if you can tell, but anyways, it was all mangled up too. So something happened to this carburetor. It was dropped, or somebody hit it with a hammer or something. So I shouldn't have to worry about this. So I'm going to have to do it in a way that I can kind of run that off of the edge, like here, maybe. Not have it in the way. But I will have to take out the booster, or whatever they call that. I forgot what you call that. So I think that's just a friction fit. So obviously carefully take it out. All right, I can't think of the name of that. I want to say it's the booster, but that doesn't sound right. Can't think of the name. Some of them have holes in them. This one does not. But I think that's where these accelerator nozzles get their fuel from. But anyways, so that's got to come out. I was going to try to just take it out, turn it out, and if it won't come out, I'm going to try to heat this area, but that does have to come out to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get that out, and then unfortunately, there's a few knobby bits that are also going to have to come out. Now, like I said, like the worst case scenario, this doesn't work, but it's already garbage. Now, I had thought about doing a really thick thing of fuel resistant silicone or something on it, but that's a whole different kind of worms there. And I don't know, this may be a bad idea, but basically what's going to have to happen now, I already had taken this one down because I thought that it was in the way, but these little locating pins are going to have to come off. This area where the choke goes is going to have to come down. This area is going to have to come down. So it's kind of the thing, like once you start, it's too late kind of thing, but that's about the best that I can do. All right, so this came out easy, and you can see there's a little bit of a step here, right where my finger is there. So it's stepped down a tiny bit, it looks like maybe, but anyways, that just is a friction fit, and I just carefully took it out with some pliers. And then it seemed like it was a little bit clogged at the tip, so I found some wire, some threaded wire, and just unthreaded it so I could poke it through the end, just make sure that's free. So that's going to have to go back in, obviously. Now, there's a potential that this boss here. I mean, obviously it's there for a reason, but the question is that going to get in the way of anything, or is it going to hurt anything if I take that down? But I have to take that down to be able to get this surface smoothed out. So I don't know. We'll find out. And then also this little raised area here, like I mentioned. And then the other thing that's going to happen is there's this I don't know if you can pick that up, but there's this line, this raised boss all the way around that's surely there to help with sealing. That's obviously going to have to come down. So it's potentially not going to seal as well. But it is what it is, and I figure with a bit of a grit in it, with cross hatches and stuff, we'll hopefully grab the carb gasket a little better. This was 120 grit. This is the carburetor gasket kit. This is a Napa one, actually, Napa Ackland. And this one is still made in the USA. And this is the part number, obviously. So this should cover, I think, both 2100 and 2150 carburetors. So I'm going to rip up my grinder. Here, just grab a battery for that. And, kind of, again, that point of no return. But like I said, it's warped to the point where it was off about, it's teetering about probably a 1/16 of an inch. So we'll see. Okay, so got those high spots zipped off. Oh, I forgot this little locating pin here. But try to just take off as little as possible, and then have to locate this somehow. It just occurred to me that this actually probably will come out the same way that it should be a friction strip. So I'm going to try to take that out. All right, yes, it did come out. Just twists out. Obviously, I'm not worried about this, so I just it did leave a little bit of plier marks. If you're more concerned, put some tape around it. But like I said, this top's already going to be ruined, so not overly concerned with that. So now, the only other thing I got is just take this little boss down, mount the sandpaper, and then go from there. All right, so I've been grinding or sanding it here. And I don't know how well this will show up, but you can see all along here. Now this part isn't actually, I'll try it this way. This part here actually doesn't contact anything, but you can tell high spot, and you can see it's starting to shine through here, all the way around here, here, but it still has not quite, or it's just barely getting to the front. And the other good thing to have here is a marker, if I can get this off. There we go. So you can go like this, and this helps just visualize it really quickly, especially if you don't have good eyes or something. But it's also just kind of a double check. Now some of those errors aren't really consequential, but if I can do it without having to get rid of this whole ridge here, that would be ideal, because that does help in the sealing. This part here doesn't matter because it doesn't actually touch anything as far as I know. So that's the idea there. But yeah, really what we're focusing on, obviously, is just this area in here. So I'm going to try doing this one-handed. So let me wipe this off here. So you can tell quite clearly where the warp was, because obviously this was the high spot here. So I've already taken off some of this. So I may almost just keep going until it's all gone. I don't know. But yeah, so doing the marker really helps you visualize everything. But you can see now I have contacted everywhere. It's starting to shine through. Well, almost everywhere. I guess there's a little bit right here. So I do need to go a little bit more. So I'm probably going to just go, now that I've taken it off everywhere, I'm going to go until it's all flat, I think, is just kind of the way it's going to be. So that's the idea there. And, just repeat this a couple times with the marker till you get it where you want it. And then that nozzle just needs to go back in there, and the one here, and hopefully it runs fine, but we'll find out. So still got a couple kinks to work on with other things, but that did fix the vacuum leak. Sprayed some choke cleaner around the or carb cleaner around the base gasket, or where they meet there, and it's not leaking, so that's good news. So seems to have fixed the problem. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.